Hi, welcome. This is Steve Speicher. I'm a Senior Principal Product Manager at Red Hat, and I'm going to talk to you today about scaling DevOps for hybrid cloud. As we all know in business, some of the differentiation that's key is the ability for your company, your team, to deliver innovation faster. And that means all kinds of things for different businesses. Depends on what you're in. Some is just a matter of having connected applications so you can provide more intelligent solutions, taking some data that you have, either from gathering all the different pieces, customer insights, and then building out some recommendations for those, either product offerings or how people use your products or your services. And then expanding on the global availability, either taking the current global availability you have and reaching new markets within that global reach, or it's completely reaching out into areas that you normally aren't into, either expanding on some traditional ways of your business, or leveraging some pieces that you've found that your core skill set is pretty good at adapting to. And if you look at IT, really the success depends on who you ask, but it depends on your ability to deliver applications faster. Some of it is, key on, how can you do that? Some of those are looking at some of the patterns in technology and application approaches to say, well, if we build these things as microservices, as serverless applications, we can build up these cloud native applications, and we can be a bit more agile with our application infrastructure. The other is building up on artificial intelligence and machine learning solutions, solutions like blockchain, having Internet of Things, so being able to have sensors and control devices in many places, and just an overall innovation culture within IT. And we see some common ingredients on what brings that up, brings these things together. It's rooted at this ability in business demand, how you deliver an IT, DevOps, and then pulling together with microservices solutions, a way to manage your containers, leveraging Kubernetes. So some of this agility can, really we need to make sure that it can succeed without falling into the silos. So what you often need to do is taking these approaches, finding a way to bring them together, blend them together in a cohesive solution across your business and your IT organization. DevOps is, over the years, has changed. Everyone's got their own definition of it. Let's be good just to kind of pause and say what we're talking about here. I mean, at the root of it, it's really just it's a bit of a culture and a process. So it's a bit more about the people, but the reality of many people and the large things at scale, tools help with those people deliver that process in a given culture. And so we'll talk about some of the tooling, but tooling's important, and that helps with some of the key things in DevOps, which are around increasing business value, which really is focused on pieces such as automation, which allows you to rapidly innovate and deliver that innovation as needed. So the culture itself is really about collaboration across, and that's how it got its name, right? From dev to ops coming together instead of throwing things over the wall, but really that collaboration on the end goal, and not worried about the silos that are there, and breaking down the barriers to deliver on that innovation. And some of that is required is that automation is in taking those processes and see how much you can automate so that you can focus on delivering that value as opposed to the process itself. And then how you can leverage technology either in your application stack to deliver that, or even in the delivery of your application. So we'll talk a bit about some of those. In the short of it, DevOps is really about getting things out the door to end users quickly and reliably. So just have a very automated, rock solid process on how you can deliver that innovation and those changes. So let's talk a bit about DevOps, about a culture, and culture is about people. And you see certain characteristics of DevOps culture. Key part of it is open communication, and we hear this often from our consulting teams, often when they come in and help either through our labs engagements, or open innovation labs, or individual consultants. You hear a lot working with customers. One of the key things is just bringing people together. There's a huge value there. And then part of that is that open communication, not looking to point fingers, but trying to understand where things need to be fixed and how to fix them. Obviously, the key is respect, understanding everyone's trying to achieve the same goal, and you have trust in each other that they'll do their job, and we're shooting for that similar end state, and making sure there's the right incentives and then assignment and responsibility to get there, and then really embrace, not encourage, but embrace failure through experimentation to make sure what things may work or not work. But it's important to learn from those failures on how to grow your team and the overall culture. And then a little bit of patience. I know we're talking about rapid innovation, but sometimes it takes the culture some time to, not overnight going to be fixed and say, oh, we're going to do things this new way. It takes waves of learning and getting through some of that, building up that trust, that respect, finding the right communication channels, and then learning as you go. And that's just the point of the whole point is everyone is trying to kind of deliver to a certain end state. And so everyone has their valuable input and really communicate so that get all the things out on the table, working through a common goal, not saying that everything that is centered around a developer and the developer can control what the feature set is when it gets delivered and those type of things. But the reality is if it's not really hitting the right business goals, if it's not accessible and clear documentation on how to use it, in the end, it's not going to be a successful solution.